see the buck dancing and the fear, okay, in the fear in Keith Thurman's eyes when he talks about Earl Spence. Keith Thurman is very outspoken, very definite, and very stern in everything he says. When you look at Keith Thurman, when Keith Thurman is asked to give a prediction or when he's asked to talk or elaborate on something, he is at no loss for words for nothing, except when it comes to Earl Spence. That's what the fans see. Don't start pulling these enigmatic magic tricks up out of the sky and, oh, they saying he's scared of Keith Thurman. Saying Keith Thurman is scared of Earl Spence and I don't know why. And this is, nah, homie, you know why. You know why. Sean Porter ain't no champion right now. He ain't no, Earl Spence was saying his name. These guys are not all champions. Danny Garcia ain't no champion. You gonna make an excuse for Danny Garcia not to fight him now too?
Nah.
I don't understand this stuff, man. And so, and another thing that I want to address is the fans thing.
All right, before we go any further, this is Black Fight Fan TV. All right, subscribe to his channel. This is his response. This is about 3 minutes in, 4 minutes into his response. Now, the first bit that you guys missed is him just pretty much telling me that Keith Thurman and his demeanor has changed whenever it comes to Errol Spence. All right. And the reason why I did it like this, because there's 3 videos I'm going to respond to in this video. But I actually wanted to put his video specifically up because I felt at this point where I'm going to start it at again, he made it again. He made it about something else. And I want to thoroughly reply to that. But I also want him to listen to it. And I want you guys to listen to it too before I reply to what he's going to say next. Okay, because I was going to reply, but, I know all you're not going to go check the video, so I want you to hear what he's saying before I respond to it. But in the beginning of the video was all about Keith Thurman and the fear he has of Errol Spence. And I'm not going to make an argument on that because Keith Thurman, the way he responds, like he danced around, he did dance around. And I said in my video, he danced around it. I said it, and I've also said that I think Errol Spence stylistically could be Thurman's biggest threat. I've said that. I said that a couple of years ago. This is what I used to always say. I said Keith Thurman's biggest, hardest, toughest opponents, Floyd. When Floyd was boxing, I said Floyd. Even though no one agreed with me, I said Marcos Maidana. All right, stylistically, I thought Marcos Maidana was a very difficult fight for Keith Thurman. Okay, I thought that Kell Brook was the one that could outbox him. If anybody had a chance outside of Floyd, obviously, I thought it would be Kell Brook. Everybody else, besides Mayweather, I felt like the aggression was going to be their ace up their sleeve. But I felt like Kell Brook was the guy that could beat Thurman to a decision by outboxing him on the outside. And you had Porter and Spence, who I thought that their aggression, I think Spence is a little bit more precise. I think he hits a little harder than Porter. I think Porter would outwork on me. They fought by now, but this is what I was saying a couple years back. All right. I have no problem. I think Keith sees what we see. But as far as ducking, I'm going to get back to that later in this video. But I want y'all to listen to what he says so I can get to that. And before I can move on from that, all right?
Look, man, you could call me a fanboy. I'm a fan. I'd rather be a fanboy than a press credential hoe. You know what I'm saying? I'd be a fanboy all day long. And like I said before, I'm riding with Earl Spence. You know what I'm saying? And this bravado that I don't want to even do that, but many of us I'm just gonna keep it plain. Many of us YouTube channels have about not picking people, not being specific, buck dancing around a solid prediction is fake, man. I'm sick of that, man. You're not Tom Brokaw. You're not Dan Rattler. You're not Skip Bayless. You're not Stephen A. Smith.
Definitely
you don't work
not.
for ESPN. You have a channel that people come to ask your prediction or to see what you think, and for you not to give broad, ambiguous, generic, off-brand answers.
Is that
who
what
you
I
think
did?
gonna win? All right, straight up. This is who I think gonna win. Blah,
I said
blah,
Kell
blah,
Brook
blah.
was gonna win.
There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. And see, this is another issue that I have with these people.
All right, hold on. I said Kell Brook was gonna win the fight. I've been saying Kell Brook was gonna win the fight. That's my pick. You know, that's my pick. That's my prediction. You know, there's other people that feel the same way. You know, obviously. You know, so I don't know how Buck danced around that. You know, I don't even like that whole. I don't even know how that has anything to do with me picking Kell Brook to win. I'm not Buck dancing around anything. All right, I heard you say that twice in this video. Definitely not Buck dancing. All right, I picked Kell Brook to win, and I thought I was pretty straightforward by picking Kell Brook to win. Okay, I've said it in other videos, and I said it in my prediction video. All right, so I don't understand where that came into play.
Like, it seemed like I'm gonna have to go there. It seemed like black dudes is not allowed to be fans of people, like, because they be afraid of them to lose. Like, he gonna lose, so I gotta get. One of the most impressive things, or the most impressive things about Amir Khan and Manny Pacquiao is their fans. Okay? The loyalty of the fans. See, the only people that get banished into space when they lose is black fighters and white fighters. And that's the stupid American mentality. You understand what I'm saying? That's the mentality of a dumb American. See, that's the most impressive thing about the UK and they run right now is their fans' dedication to their fighters. They're actually allowed to be fans. There's no idiotic bravado trailing them that they don't, no arrogance that they can't be wrong.
I just, you know, this is why I had to play it, because I'm like, if I reply, people ain't gonna understand why. I don't know where you're going with this point. At this point, I don't know where you're going with it. Something that I said that you clearly took out of context. All right. I don't know. You turning it into something else. And this is just a pick, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you turning it into a whole nother thing right now. And you continue to do it. You know? And it's like, I'm not trying to diss you. I'm just playing it because you put it out there for me to hear and for your subscribers to listen. But you're talking to me. So I gotta, like, all right, I'm gonna reply, but I want to let people hear what you're talking about. Because you're taking it somewhere and you're making it a personal thing. I never, you know, all this bravado and all this talk, the fanboy talk. Listen, you said you from Texas in the beginning of the video. You gave a bunch of shout outs to people in Texas. Errol Spence is from Texas. So you supporting him. I get what you're saying. You supporting him because he's from where you from. Just like the UK fans support their fighters. Just like fans from all over the world support their fighters. I have no problem with that. I support fighters from New York. I support fighters from the country. And I support fighters that I like. At the end of the day, if I fucks with you, I fuck with you. If I don't, I don't. You can be from wherever. I go to Triple G fights, okay? And, you know, I go to fights here. You know, I've seen Quillen fight. I've seen Jacob fight. I've seen Zab and Paulie Malignaggi fight. I went to that card. I support plenty of fighters. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know where you're going. You know, I mean, maybe I took it the wrong way. And I'm not going to do any more videos. But maybe you could leave a comment and explain to me where you're going with this, because I don't know where you're going with it. But you clearly are talking about me. So I'm like, all right, how do I reply to this and let people understand where I'm coming from? Because not only do I want you to understand where I'm coming from, but I want the listeners that's watching my channel to know why I'm replying in this manner. You know what I'm saying? Let me continue and let this finish out.
Oh, well, he might lose and all that. That is, man, that is so, man, that pisses me. That makes me so, it's disgusting because it shows the disloyalty in our culture, the disloyalty in our people, and how it's cool and it's okay to just dismiss something and just use something up and just throw it away because it serves us no purpose anymore. Or what we think it don't serve no purpose no more.
Taking it way too.
I'm out for that, man. And you're not going to punish me or try to make me feel less than because I'm not the same as you. Because I'm loyal to something.
You making it
and
personal.
I stand behind something. I stand behind my product, or I stand behind a fighter, or I stand behind my prediction. I'm not less than you because of that. Actually, I would think that you less than me. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't stand for nothing. In my eyes, that's how I see it. No disrespect to you, but I'm just saying. That's just how I see it. I stand for something. And if I say something, I stand behind it.
I do too.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm right, I'm not on here, oh man, I told y'all. I told you guys about this before. I told you guys about this. Man, I don't care, man. That is so whack to me, man. And I'm not going to even go there. But it's just like,
You went there.
It is what it is, man.
All right. Yeah.
Shout out to BoxingWave, man. It ain't no malice, homie. It's just, it is cool. What it is. We just have a disagreement, and we can agree to disagree. I respect you. I love your channel. You one of the reasons why I got into this. Love your suave deal, how you got down on camera, man. Big ups to you, brother. Love your channel still, but we just gonna have to agree. We just two different types of dudes. You understand what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Black Fight Fan TV.
All right. Listen, man. I stand by what I say. And it's not about right or wrong neither on me. I just made an apology video to Keith Thurman. He's probably never going to watch it. I didn't make it to make sure he watched it. I didn't care. I made a video and I thought it was wrong in the video. And I made another video saying, you know what, I apologize. I saw the fight again. And I discredited you by saying that you fought poorly. And I thought you fought well. I thought Keith Thurman fought well. But like I said, I'm not even trying to go there. You said that 3 times. Listen, I pay attention to people when they say, they speak to me. I even when they're not speaking to me, I really listen. All right. I really listen. And I have no problem with you picking Errol Spence. He's from where you're from. You're supporting him. He's a black man, young black fighter, very humble, not lately, but he's a humble fighter. He's very talented. And if you think he's going to win, then that's cool. There's plenty of fighters that I wanted to win, and I picked against them because I didn't think they would win the fight. Some of my favorite fighters, I didn't think they would win the fight. I've done it so many times on here, and there's so many fighters that I wanted to win so bad. I was the one that made a video saying, as badly as I want Andre Ward to win, Andre Ward is one of my favorite fighters. And I thought Kovalev got him by a point. I didn't think, waiting for the judges to come on, I really didn't think that they would give Ward the win. I thought, if anything, I was hoping that they would make it a draw and they could fight again. I didn't think Ward won, I did think it was very close, obviously, by giving Kovalev the extra point. I thought Ward won the first half. But anyway, I already spoke about all that. You probably seen it. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But I just had to get that out of the way. All right? Hope you don't take offense. But me saying that I don't stand by what I say, it kind of made me like, all right, where are you taking this? Because you kind of, from what it sounds like, you're judging my character and my integrity by saying that you stand by what you say and saying that I don't, and that I'm bug dancing, all these terms you using, directing it to me. I had to address you in a different way because I don't know where you're going with it. We can still be cool. There's no real issues, all right? But I had to address it like that because I don't know where you're going with it, you know? Moving on now. 78 Sports TV. He made a video he said he was replying to the both of us, me and Black Fight Fan TV. But I felt like 78 was more talking to everybody. That's the feeling I got when I listened to the video. All right, he was basically saying, listen, I've spoken to Keith, which he has. He's done interviews. I've heard them all. You know, he said he's spoken to Keith, and it's true. Keith's demeanor is definitely different than of what it was before when he was calling everybody out. You know, he's making money. He's making millions now. The hunger is not the same. Okay, now he's a top dog, and there's young dogs coming up. And he was basically saying what I was saying in a nutshell, just not in the same way. He was saying that Errol Spence is the new Keith Thurman. You know? And I agree with that. Because Errol Spence is on the come up. Keith Thurman is now a top dog. Well, he's been a top dog for a little while, but Errol Spence is just now getting put in a place to be a top dog. Errol Spence is now just getting there. He's just now getting his first shot. So I felt like 78 is not really much to address in his video because he was just going into detail on how, look, listen, Keith Thurman is not addressing him in the same manner, but that's because of the position he's in. And that's what I was trying to say. I was saying he thinks Spence is going to win too, and I'm cool with that. I don't have no problem with that. I already told you, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I'm not putting no money up on it because I don't know who's really going to win, but that's my pick. Kell Brook is my pick. I think Kell Brook is going to outbox him. That's my pick. You know, if you're going to be mad at that, then dislike the video and bounce. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? Now, Boxingologist. He replied, and I love Boxingologist. I've been subscribed to him for just about as long as I had a channel, you know. I mean, he's one of the dudes, that I subscribed to early on. Once I, subscribed to 78 and Dante and all these other channels that's on here, all right? D-Style, all these guys I subscribed to, like, after I made my channel. All right, Boxingologist is cool. I was happy that he made a reply because I knew he was gonna come with facts. And I knew he already thinks Errol Spence is the top dog. So I knew when he replied, I was like, oh man, nah, I got to make sure I'm really listening because I already know he's going to come with facts. And which he did. He made a good video. He made a great video. He basically made a great argument on why he think Errol Spence is going to win. But not going into detail about the fight itself, he was just basically saying, like, look, this is why Spence is not overrated. He was saying, look at all of the common opponents he had with all of the welterweights, not just Thurman, but Garcia and all the other fighters he named. Named a lot of fighters. And he said, this guy fought this guy, and Errol Spence stopped each and every one of them. This is why he's not overrated. And I'm not going to, he brought it up too about, Keith Thurman dancing around the question, dancing around whenever he comes out. And listen, I'm not going to argue that point because I've said it myself. As far as the common opponents, that's a great argument. I can't argue with you with that. That's a great point. It's a great point. It's not about being right or wrong with me. It's a great argument. But with that being said, I also said that Errol Spence is a great finisher. If he has you, that's the difference with Thurman. Thurman comes out. He comes out strong. But if he can't get you out of there early, he's not going to get you out of there late. I.e., Robert Guerrero, Danny Garcia, Leonard Bundu. had him hurt early in the fight, you know, landing some big shots. As the fight goes on, he takes the safe route. Errol Spence, he's going 100 all the way until he gets the knockout. But the problem with that, even though he looked better with all those opponents, even though he looked better beating all of those fighters, you got to remember, he's still fighting the lower quality fighters. He might be the best finisher, but is he the best boxer? That's the question. It's all subjective right now because we don't know. But now he's fighting arguably the best welterweight. Kell Brook might be the best welterweight. We don't know. We don't know. You know, because Kell Brook only fought Sean Porter. But he fought Sean Porter and beat him in a way where nobody else beat him. Everybody else that had a good fight, a tough fight with Sean Porter or beat Sean Porter didn't look as good as Kell Brook. Kell Brook looked very good against Sean Porter. You know? He shut that roughhousing style down. He shut that shit down. You know, he shut it down completely. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not really going to argue anything you're saying. I'm just saying, like, listen, I feel you. But now he's stepping up into, he's taking a big leap in competition going up to Kell Brook, right? He's going big. Now, this is the part where I'm just going to make my last argument on this, and then I'm going to put this whole thing to bed. There's other videos that I want to do, other fighters I want to talk. I want to get off this welterweight thing. All right. What you guys are bringing up history, and boxing fan, black fight fan brought this up too, and I wanted to, this is my last argument, okay? I've said this before, but I'm going to go even more detail. Black fight fan says something about Errol Spence was calling him out when Keith Thurman was the boogeyman. That's somewhat true. But even if it's true, you got to remember, and I want you guys that's watching this, pull up BoxRec, pull up Keith Thurman and his record, and pull up Errol Spence, right? Because I looked it up before I watched. I got home, I looked it up. I looked it up before I made this video because I wanted to make sure, all right? Pull up the BoxRec on both of these fighters, all right? Errol Spence had his first professional fight at the end of 2012 in November. At that point, he was fighting every month, every other month, every couple of months or so. Just like most, you know, new fighters do. You know, whatever. By 2013, all right, because we're in 2017 now, right? So we're not even 5 years later. We're in the beginning of 2017. Errol Spence has been on the bench for like 8 months now because he's waiting for that Kell Brook fight. What you guys got to realize is that back when Errol Spence was only 3-4 fights in, Keith Thurman was fighting for a WBA interim spot against Jan Savic. All right. One of the first guy, I think, I'm not sure if he was the first or the second guy he didn't knock out, but this was a big step for Keith Thurman at that time, back in 2013. And then you also got to remember that in that same year, he fought Diego Chavez. He was still the WBA interim because he beat Jan Savic, beat him, fought Diego Chavez. At that time, was a dangerous opponent because his KO ratio. They both had a lot of knockouts. You know, if you watch that fight live, you remember, you see Knockout Kings and whatever. Two guys had a lot of knockouts, you know, welterweights doing their thing. But Keith was already the WBA interim champ. So Errol, in that same year, he's still fighting, you know, the guys with the low-level records, you know, the older ones and losing records. I don't know if he fought anyone losing records, but the low-quality dudes. This is back in 2013, all right? We just hit 2017. So he fought Diego Chavez, okay? Now, in the meantime, you got to remember, that Paulie Malignaggi call-out, when he did that press conference, that was right after. It was right after the Savic win. Okay? When he was in a presser, he was like, listen, I want to fight everybody. This is when Keith Thurman was hungry. This is when Keith Thurman was in straight beast mode. And Paulie Malignaggi just happened to be sitting back there, and he was like, including you, Paulie, I'll fight you. Don't stop ducking me, son. That's what he was saying, right? So back then, Keith Thurman was that guy. He was the boogeyman. And good reason. Because he was the WBA interim champ, while the WBA title was getting passed around by a bunch of dudes that's not even welterweights that did not want to fight Keith Thurman. You want to talk about someone getting ducked? Shevchenko had the title. Paulie Malignaggi beat him. He's from 140. He was the soft touch for guys moving up from 140 to 147. He's been that all these years. He gets the title. Adrian Broner beats Paulie Malignaggi. He gets the title. Marcos Maidana beats Adrian Broner. He gets the title. Keith Thurman was supposed to fight Maidana, twice? And he backed out? Floyd fights Maidana twice. All these years, Keith Thurman is waiting for his WBA shot. Floyd fights Pacquiao, fights Berto, and retire. Thurman never gets his shot at the title, but they elevate him to WBA champ. Never get he's fighting all the people he needs to be fighting. Meanwhile, if you look on BoxRec and look at the fighters that Errol Spence was fighting while Keith Thurman was fighting Jean Savic, Diego Chavez, Soto Carras, right? Juan Diaz, Guerrero, Collazo, Sean Porter. All of these guys, if you look year to year, they don't compare. The levels of competition don't compare. Now, Spence is moving up like he should be in the IBF rankings or whatever. I forgot what other rankings he's moving up in, but he's moving to IBF. He's reached the IBF in less than 5 years. He's reached a title shot with Kell Brook last year. So I want to say in 4 years he's done it, because if we're counting last year, he was a mandatory last year. Last summer, he was a mandatory. He was a mandatory last year. So within 4 years, like 3.5 years, he got to the IBF strap mandatory by facing, a couple of leftovers and a bunch of random regular guys, like any other fighter on the come up. That same year when he fought Algerian, or when he fought Bundle, Thurman was fighting Sean Porter. When he fought Algieri, Keith Thurman was out here fighting Collazo and Guerrero. And anyone before that, like Philip Greco and Keith Van Herden, this is the years when Thurman was fighting, all those other guys like Soto. It wasn't even at that point, because he fought Philip Greco and Herden like 2 years ago now. I think back like in 2015. He didn't really step it up yet. So my point is here, because we all tend to forget. A lot of people bring up history, but they're not bringing it up. They only bring it up when it benefits them. They're not bringing up all this other stuff. How is Keith Thurman ducking this dude if he's trying to get his title shot, which is well-deserved? He's already in position. He's a WBA interim champion. He's an interim title holder. He deserves to be fighting for the WBA title. That's the fight he wants. Now that he got elevated, now he's trying to fight a unified champion. He said he'd go out and fight Kell Brook. Nothing ever happened. So he got Danny Garcia, which makes sense because they're both Al Haymon fighters. How's he ducking Errol Spence? When Errol Spence, if you look at his record, none of these fights are for any kind of title shot. He's just moving up in IBF, and now he's in position. And Kell Brook is the one that's supposed to fight him, not Keith Thurman. So you're telling me that last year, Keith Thurman was supposed to fight Errol Spence instead of fighting Danny Garcia? Is that what you're saying? Are you going to say in 2015, now we're 2 years behind, and you're telling me, I'm sorry, not 2 years. He just fought Danny. So last year he was supposed to fight Porter. So you're telling me last year he was supposed to fight Errol Spence over Sean Porter? Are you telling me this year he was supposed to fight Errol Spence over Danny Garcia? Are you telling me 3 years ago or 2 years ago when he fought Collazo and Guerrero that he was supposed to fight Errol Spence back then? Is that the argument you're making? Because at that time in 2014, 2015, if we're talking 3 years, what has he done? Like any fighter could just come in and just say, I'm calling out Thurman. I want to fight him. Is Thurman supposed to stop what he's trying to do to fight Errol Spence? The dude is trying to win a title. Errol Spence don't have a title. It's a fight that the fans want to see. I get it. But we're going to get that. How do you know? How can you be so sure we're not going to get that? How do you know? Let the kid at least win the title or at least be a credible opponent, a top dog in the division. You guys are not even letting him do that. You're not even giving him that opportunity. You're saying that everybody should fight him now. Kell Brook needs to fight him because Kell Brook holds that title and he's a mandatory for it. Now, Kell Brook didn't fight him, that would have been a duck. Keith Thurman not fighting him? Keith Thurman was gunning for that WBA title because he was the interim champ. Then, when he won, he fought another champion in the division. Why would he fight Errol Spence when Errol Spence is on the come up behind him doing what he was doing a few years ago? It doesn't make sense. The ducking part doesn't make sense. Do I think Keith Thurman wants to fight him? No. Do I think Keith Thurman will fight him if Errol Spence holds a title? Hell yeah. Now, if Keith Thurman beats his mandatory, if he fights Lamar Peterson, beats Lamar Peterson, right? Beats him this year. Kell Brook loses to Errol Spence. Errol Spence is the IBF title holder now. They both Al Heyman fighters. There's no excuses. 2018 comes up. Errol Spence is still calling out Thurman. And Thurman says, nah, I ain't gonna fight him. I'm gonna fight, I don't know, who's the Al Heyman guy? Whoever. I don't know. I don't know at this point. There's so many guys. The welterweight is getting cleaned up a little bit now. So a lot of guys fought each other already. But if he says, I'm not going to fight him, I'm going to fight Amir Khan. Amir Khan comes back and fight Keith Thurman. Why are you not fighting Errol Spence? What is there in fighting Khan? Well, Khan got the biggest name. Shit like that is ducking. The bigger name. Khan got the bigger name. I'm not going to fight. That's what other guys were doing. That's where Kell Brook was slipping into that. So I have no problem with guys dissing Kell Brook. But all that Keith Thurman, nah. Keith Thurman is doing his thing over there in the WBA and now the WBC. Keith Thurman started professionally in 2007. Errol Spence started at the end of 2012. It's no comparison. I feel you guys think that Spence is the better fighter. He might be. But he hasn't proven it. He hasn't proven. I'm sorry, yo. And I don't get it. When it comes to him, everybody got this one fighter. They swear no matter what, they know is the best. There's no debating. They don't have to prove shit. They can just come in and say, he's the best. He's the future. He doesn't need to prove himself. These guys need to get in the ring with him right now. I feel you. But he actually does have to prove himself. Sorry. As many upsets as we get in boxing, you telling me he doesn't have to prove himself? Come on, man. Anyway, this is my last time talking about this. I want to move on, man. I want to move on for all of this, man. I think Keith Thurman, you guys forget, man. Keith Thurman was trying to fight all of these WBA guys from 140 that was passing the belt around all over the place, not getting his shot. He's sitting on a bench, you know, trying to get his belt. He's an interim title holder, fighting Errol Spence. Like, then Floyd comes in and is like, oh, I want them to fight for my title. What kind of shit is that? Why don't you fight Keith Thurman, Floyd? Or why don't you fight Errol Spence since you think he's that good? That's what I said back when Floyd fought Berto. You know, we heard about what happened in the gym. Why don't you prove the world that Errol Spence is not on your level? That's what I was saying. But I was just starting trouble, you know. Anyway, yo, I'm out, man. That's my last video. Shout out to Black Fight Fan TV. You know, I don't have a problem with you. It's just I didn't know where you trying to go with that video, man. And it sounded like, you know, so I had to set it straight. We can move on from that. If you want to reply to me, that's cool. But I'm done doing videos on it, you know. I want to move on from talking about this. Shout out to 78 Sports TV. Did a great video. And shout out to Boxingologist. You know, came with good hard facts, a good reply. It was a good reply. You know, I still don't think I really don't think Thurman is ducking him though. I think Kell Brook was trying to duck him. All right, but Kell Brook took the fight. So the fight is happening. After this fight, listen, if I'm wrong and Kell Brook gets knocked out in the second, third round, you guys can come back on here and slander me. I mean, it's not really about winning or losing. It's about me just picking my pick. And I think Kell Brook is going to win the fight. I think Kell Brook is going to outbox him a little bit. And that's it, all right? So make sure you guys subscribe. And I'm out. Yo, this is my last one for real. I got other videos to do, all right? So I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.